Welcome back to the Gregarious Technology YouTube channel. This is the Microsoft Purview Data Map Masterclass using Microsoft Fabric as a data source. We are on Module 3, which is Supported Microsoft Fabric Asset Types. In this module, we'll review the Microsoft Fabric asset types that Microsoft Purview Data Map can discover and organize. The Fabric Data Connector supports assets from several different Fabric workloads. For data storage, Purview can discover lakehouses and warehouses. Depending on the asset and the available metadata, this can include tables, columns, files, folders, and SQL Analytics endpoints. This allows users to discover both the top-level Fabric item and, where supported, the technical objects contained within it. For data integration and engineering, Purview can identify pipelines, Dataflows Gen2, notebooks, and Spark jobs. These assets help administrators understand what development and data processing components exist across the Fabric workspaces. For real-time analytics, Purview supports KQL databases and KQL querysets. These assets can be included in the organization's broader inventory alongside with its other Fabric data and analytics resources. Purview can also discover reporting and business intelligence assets. These include semantic models, reports, dashboards, and datasmarts. This can help users understand what analytical content is available, where it is located, and which Fabric workspace contains it. Machine learning models and experiments can also be represented in the data map, providing visibility into the supported data science workloads. It's important to understand that the amount of metadata available varies by the asset type. Some assets may provide detailed information such as tables, schemas, columns, files, and technical properties. Other assets may provide primarily item-level metadata such as the asset's name, type, description, owner, and workspace. Support for discovering an asset also does not necessarily mean that Purview performs content classification or apply sensitivity labels to it during the data map scan. The primary purpose of the Fabric scan is to build a centralized technical inventory of the supported assets and metadata available across the selected Fabric workspaces. This broad coverage helps organizations discover assets across different Fabric workloads, identify responsible teams, and establish a stronger foundation for data governance. So let's take a look at this image diagram we have here called Microsoft Fabric Asset Types and Workloads. It's essentially the Fabric workspace, which is a container that organizes and secures related Fabric items. Now, you don't have to be a Fabric expert, which I am not, to understand how to govern the assets, but you should have a fundamental understanding because you're going to have to govern these assets in the unified catalog. You're going to have to scan these assets into the data map, and you're going to have to know and work with the people that know their data better than you do. Those might be the data experts in Fabric, or they might be the data owners in the business units, to be able to collaborate and decide which types of assets to pull in, to scope, where to put those assets for governance, and who needs access to these different types of assets. So in Fabric, from a data storage perspective, we have Lakehouses, which combines the data lake storage with analytics. We have a warehouse, which is a structured relational analytics at scale. And we have the SQL Analytics endpoint, SQL access to supported Fabric data. Looking at the assets from a data engineering and integration standpoint, we have pipelines, which orchestrates the data movement and processing. We have a Dataflows Gen2, which is low-code data preparation and transformation. And we have notebooks and Spark jobs, code-based data engineering and processing. If you're familiar with Copilot, the idea of low-code and code-based agents starts to make sense when you look at Fabric as well. And then we have real-time intelligence, a KQL database, which stores and analyzes real-time or event data, and KQL querysets, which saves and organizes those KQL queries. Underneath business intelligence, we have the semantic models, business-ready models for analysis and reporting. We have the reports themselves, interactive visual analysis of the data, and we have dashboards, at-a-glance monitoring of key metrics. For data science, we have the ML, machine learning model. That's a trained module used to make predictions. And then we have experiments, which tracks machine learning runs and results. And ultimately, we have discovered content, a table, structured data organized into rows and columns, and a file, a stored object within a supported Lakehouse storage. An important note, information on the bottom there, metadata depth varies by asset type. Just reiterating this. Some assets expose detailed schemas and properties. Others provide item level information. And that concludes this module on the asset types and workloads. Be sure to watch the previous modules in this Masterclass series. And then when you're ready, jump into the next module.